Is the unnamed tavern named unnamed tavern? Is unnamed tavern named unnamed tavern, or is it a tavern that's not been named?
Yes, let's please start on the next one, yeah.
Which is more Musk.
SpaceX blasts FCC as it refuses to reinstate Starlink's $886 million grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that's because
yes, I'm so glad it
by
was
and
rejected
large,
because it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
It's
By and large,
money, that's
Musk cannot make a profit on a company without massive public handouts.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, Tesla's barely profitable. Obviously, Twitter has been unprofitable. He has lost some 90% of the value of that company, and his most recent thing of just telling advertisers to go fuck themselves isn't exactly helping any, especially in the wake of him just being like, yeah, the Jews are actually terrible, in fact, and white people are totally being replaced by the Jews.
Oh my god.
There's also
I've also started noticing on Twitter, I guess because because the advertisers are leaving, the real ones. Now we have like bot companies coming on and advertising their shit, drop ship, products.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, way to create like false, advertising, value for your platform. Like,
then he's got that discount wish chat GPT that he added that's been shitting on it.
Grok.
If not for the weird advertisers. Oh, sorry. If not for the weird advertisers.
Rush.
Oh goodness, stupid delay.
All right, Landon, go first, then Dapper. Go, Landon.
Okay.
I wonder how many Russian bot farms have bought the blue checkmark.
Good question.
Probably thousands.
Go ahead, Dapper. What did you have?
I'll say, without the weird version of Twitter advertisements that now exists, which is mostly just drop shipping scams, I would not know about the wonderful product that is the JO pants, which have a large flap right at crotch region that you can just open right up.
Yep.
For, all your JO needs.
That's
a product that was actually advertised on Twitter.
Vanya, JO is jerk off. Or jack off. It's fap.
Yeah, I got it.
Free the fap pants.
Yeah. I'm not that innocent anymore. Remember, I hang out with you now.
Is unbuttoning your pants too much trouble for you? Is that too much of a bridge to cross? Well, guess what? Twitter will sell you pants that you can just open right up. You don't even have to take them off.
And now you said JO. I thought you were saying JO pants, as in
JAIL.
If you're like JO because of certain things that certain inmates do to certain people.
Oh, so there.
Well, I mean,
basically, I think what
I'm sure they have multiple uses.
Is that Elon Musk cannot make money, cannot make a profitable company on his own without the intervention of tax dollars. It's the public who pays for Elon Musk to be a rich douchebag to everybody. Yeah. The public pays for
You're a Musk customer, whether or not you buy a single thing he has ever sold. If you pay taxes in the United States, and many other countries as well, you are a customer of Elon Musk. If you don't like that fact, you can look up the number of your elected officials in your local and nationwide legislatures, and you can give them a call and say, hey, I really don't like buying Starlink that I'm not getting because it's going through my tax dollars. I would be far more inclined to vote for you if you were to vote against, say, future funding for Starlink or Tesla or SpaceX.
Yeah, but Elon gave Alex Jones his platform back.
Oh God!
Allegedly,
we're gonna be talking about that soon.
Chesh is like
SpaceX. I have so many things. So
SpaceX's biggest problem is that when people start using it, they find that its bandwidth is actually rather pathetic.
Yeah, I watched some. There's testing that's been done. It's not great.
That same engineer that praised Cybertruck and put down a deposit was praising Starlink, and now uses an alternative service because Starlink apparently is not very reliable.
I actually looked it up yesterday. Hold on, let me see, because I wanted to see how expensive it was, just even in a regular city. So Starlink service plans. If I go, okay, so this is for Canada, right? So this is just like the Canadian amount. So if you're curious, you can see here. I'll make myself bigger so you guys can see what I'm looking at. See, it's like the mobile priority standard.
Yeah,
It's not really focusing,
so
but yeah.
I'm gonna read it. I'm just trying to show you that this is what I'm reading off of. So this is Starlink service plans for one location. Standard, best for households, starts at $140 a month Canadian. For priority, it's $185.
Oh, priority. Okay. I gotta pay more.
Yeah. For mobile, it's $170 a month. And for mobile priority, it's $329 a month.
By the way,
Fuck
if
you.
just as
No way.
as a level,
This does not include. This is just the service provider. This does not include the additional satellites and shit that you have to buy. The recommended hardware is to for residential is to spend $500 on the dish.
Oof. By the way, to put the monopoly dollar numbers into more like context for maybe Americans, that's 140 monopoly dollars is about 104 or $5 in real money.
You basically give or take $40 depending on what you're looking at.
Or we don't pay in units of water birds. We don't do that.
So SpaceX is furious at the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, after the agency refused to reinstate an $886 million broadband grant that was tentatively awarded to Starlink during the previous administration. You mean Trump?
Yeah,
Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
The FCC.
The Trump bucks dried up.
Right. The FCC announced it's almost like rich people giving tax breaks to rich people. Weird. The
How
FCC
very Tory of them.
The FCC announced yesterday that it rejected SpaceX's appeal. Quote, the FCC followed a careful legal, technical, and policy review to determine that this applicant has failed to meet its burden to be entitled to nearly $900 million in universal service funds for almost a decade. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel said, I don't know if I said that last name right.
I'm sure.
In December 2020,
I'm actually really, really pleased with that.
In December 2020, shortly before the departure of then FCC's chairman Ajit Pai, thank God that guy's fucking gone, Starlink was tentatively awarded, surprise, surprise, the guy who got rid of, like, the net neutrality shit, was tentatively awarded them $885.51 million in broadband funding from the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, or the RDOF, but the satellite provider still needed FCC approval of a long-form application to receive the money, which is meant to subsidize deployment in areas with little or no high-speed broadband access. The Rosenworcel FCC rejected the long-term application in August of 2022. Starlink and LTD rejections were the two biggest changes to a $9.2 billion round of grants that in the Rosenworcel FCC's words, fueled, quote, complaints that the program was poised to fund broadband to parking lots and well-served urban areas. The FCC denied LTD's appeal last week and a proposed fine of $21.7 million for defaulting on grant bids.
Oh god, that's almost the same thing as the Twitter thing, right? Almost the same thing.
And, and not paying your landlords.
Like, bid for the Twitter. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I'm so glad that FCC, even if they have done some due diligence, they have done due diligence in this one. Yeah. Because we are not going to then have another Elizabeth Jones. It's very, very dangerous when such elements like actors or participants like who have no fucking clue what they're doing, they become part of the government policies. That's very and especially where in transport and in health and blah blah blah, where human lives are at risk. So it's very important that these companies are vetted with very, very strict scrutiny.
A decade. That's a decade.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dapper. Go ahead.
And so wasn't
one of the
this
things
fun?
is like, yeah, sure, it's one of the things is, yeah, sure, it is available in rural areas, right? Mm-hmm. You can get, because it's satellite internet, you can get it pretty much anywhere that is a latitude that is within the orbit of the network of satellites that make up the Starlink cloud of satellites, right?
It wouldn't help Dapper on the current map there because it's Dapper's.
No, yeah, you can't. I mean, obviously you would have to use satelloons because satellites aren't real because the Earth is flat, obviously. But anyway, but here's the thing, right? When rural in the United States government is usually a code for not just rural, but also poor, right? Because those are the people who are actually needing additional internet access. If you're rich and you live in the middle of nowhere, you have internet. It's not a problem. It's probably more expensive than it could be otherwise, but you're rich anyway. Who cares? What they're trying to really do is get to the type of people who, in the United States, got electricity in like the 70s. That's a thing.
Yeah.
There are towns in the US and places that didn't have electricity like 50 years ago.
Yep.
And also, that's really who's being targeted by this.
Yeah.
Yep. When I was in Christchurch, I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, at one point, when I first moved to Christchurch, I got a property where it was on a farm, right, at the edge of a farm, and it didn't have, what do you say? What the fuck is that? Fiber internet. Oh my god, the brain farts. Yeah, so it didn't have like fiber internet, and I couldn't stream, and it was frustrating for 1 year. I would like scream around in my room, and like it's connectivity is so important, especially in rural areas where you have to make sure that emergency services can come and and do their job of saving someone. So in New Zealand, that's what the concept is. That's why they're trying to link everyone possible through fiber, and they're ready to provide subsidies to companies who are ready to help install all the infrastructure, because they want, like, everyone deserves to be connected to at least the emergency services to save their lives. So yeah, it was very frustrating, man. It was very frustrating.
Also, I want to point out, Vagary in the chat lives near one of those towns that did not have electricity just a few decades ago in the United States, right?
Wow.
Like, it's true that the United States was a pioneer in things like electricity, telephone systems, all these things. Yeah, that's great. But like it focused on big population centers. And if you live in like out in the sticks in like Appalachia, you still might not have an actual service provider that provides you with non-satellite based internet. And if you are someone who's poor in those places, which is virtually everyone, because if you weren't poor, you probably wouldn't live in a place that didn't have high-speed internet. You can't afford a $500 dish and $100 a month for standard internet. That's not an option for you. Like, what are you going to do, sell a kidney or something?
Yeah, I just want to point out before Landon goes, Zerillion in the chat said they're looking into it more for the pricing and like what the connectivity is for where they are for Starlink, and it says Starlink is on par with my current ISP, which is consistently ranked with the lowest in the nation. They are on par with the worst. Oh no!
I do want to be fair. I do know a few people for whom Starlink was, one, affordable for them, and two, an unambiguous upgrade over what they had before. Yeah. There are niche cases where it is an improvement. However, the idea that it's going to be getting public, the idea that it should be getting public
it's about
funds
consistency
to help rural connectivity it's just ridiculous.
Go ahead, Landon.
But I do know some people.
Yeah.
And so I correct me wrong, but I thought the purpose of the fund was to help companies develop solutions for rural connectivity.
Yeah.
And part of the thing of saying, for companies to establish themselves, not essentially we will make you profitable by taxpayers subsidizing your but Starlink, SpaceX has been massively taxpayer funded, subsidized for a while for a number of their things. So it's not unusual that Starlink might fall into that. The other thing about Starlink is that the bandwidth is limited by whatever satellite constellation is light polluting your sky. And when more and more people in your area start to go on to Starlink, you then find that your bandwidth is essentially having to be shared by a number of people, right? And so just ask somebody who goes to let's say one of these festivals in the desert, and a whole bunch of people try to get onto Starlink, and the result is that the result sort of chokes.
Anybody who's tried to send that
network error.
What's the Happy Holidays or the Happy New Year message, and it takes like 20 minutes to send? All right, so SpaceX is disappointed and perplexed. I can't imagine why. After yesterday's Starlink denial, SpaceX quickly filed a response saying the company, quote, is deeply disappointed and perplexed by the commission's decision to exclude SpaceX Starlink satellite broadband service from the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. Quote, this decision directly undermines the very goal of the RDOF to connect unserved and underserved Americans. SpaceX told the FCC, quote, Starlink is demonstrably one of the best options, likely the best option, to accomplish the goals of the RDOF. Indeed, Starlink is arguably the only viable option to immediately connect many of the Americans who live and work in the rural and remote areas of the country where high-speed, low-latency internet has been unreliable, unaffordable, or completely unavailable. The very people RDOF was supposed to connect, end quote. We asked SpaceX whether it plans to appeal in court and will update the article if we get an answer. Starlink's grant was intended to subsidize deployment to 642,952 rural homes and business in 35 states. The August 2022 ruling that rejected the grant called Starlink a, what is that, nascent? LEO. Nascent. Thank you. Nascent. I don't know
nascent,
what's that. Do you guys know what that word is? I've never heard this word.
Like up and coming is a like it's
emerging.
To be a thing.
Like
Merging, yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Nascent LEO or low Earth orbit satellite technology with, quote, recognized capacity constraints. The FCC questioned Starlink's ability to consistently provide low latency service with the required download speeds of 100 megabytes per second and upload speeds of 20 megabytes per second. In rejecting SpaceX's appeal yesterday's FCC, basically the FCC was, we don't think you're actually capable of doing what you're claiming you're capable of up here because we think you're full of shit.
Nice call.
In rejecting SpaceX appeal yesterday, FCC orders said the agency's Wireline Competition Bureau, quote, followed commission guidelines and correctly concluded that Starlink is not reasonably capable of offering the required high-speed, low-latency service throughout the areas where it won auction support. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has acknowledged Starlink's capacity limits several times, saying, for example, that it will face, quote, a challenge serving everyone when we get into the several million user range.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
It won't scale. Right?
FCC Republicans dissent. Sorry, go ahead.
It's
polluting
very,
light as well as radio spectrum. It's a terrible system.
So it's very interesting, like that Elon Musk made that that statement that it will face challenges when it gets into several million users, because 1 million will cover that, 642, 92, 925, the rural areas. Of course we'll cover that, and then we'll have more. No.
Well, you've got the CEO, you've got the company telling the FCC it can do this stuff, but the CEO of the company being like, yeah, we can't really, though.
And also they're saying, yeah, of course we'll cover those 600,000, 700,000 rural areas, but we'll start from the urban areas. Yeah, how about that?
Right, of course. So,
and FCC's like, do you think I'm stupid?
FCC Republicans
the answer to that is yes, they do.
Yes. The FCC's, the thing is that under the previous administration, they got everything that they wanted. And it's only now that the the Trump is not currently in charge and Ajit Pai is no longer in charge, that people are questioning, like the FCC is putting their foot down. The FCC order was approved in a 3-2 vote, with Republican commissioners Brendan Carr and Nathan Symington dissenting. Carr's dissenting statement said the appeal denial, quote, certainly fits the Biden administration's pattern of regulatory harassment.
Oh, you mean bringing back the environmental regulations, or your food regulations, or your vehicle regulations that protected the people, and you're mad at that? What happened? Did your the companies that were filling your pockets for do away with those regulations? They're not paying you now? Is it that? Is it what's happening? Allegedly.
So if either of these commissioners are in your area, feel free to contact them. Quote, today the Federal Communications Commission adds itself to the growing list of administrative agencies that are taking action against Musk's businesses, Carr wrote. He accused the FCC of ignoring evidence, quote, that Starlink is reasonably capable of providing qualifying high-speed internet services to required number of locations by the end of 2025. Well, cool. Then submit an application when you're actually capable of it then. Then you can have the money.
Right?
Symington's dissent said that, quote, SpaceX technology is proven. The proof is the millions of subscribers, many in areas that other providers and the FCC have failed to serve for decades, already receiving high-quality broadband service through Starlink, and SpaceX continues to put more satellites into orbit every month, which should translate to faster and more reliable service, end quote. Quote, if this is what passes for due process and the rule of law at the FCC, then this agency ought not be trusted with the adjudicatory powers Congress has granted it and the difference that the courts have given it, Symington wrote. SpaceX criticizes the use of speed tests, and so they were like, no, why are you using this type of thing? And then it quotes what they were doing, and that's about it.
Now, I just posted in the chat an article saying that Starlink is starting to charge users in limited capacity areas an extra $3 over other users who aren't in limited capacity. So what does limited capacity mean? Areas like rural areas that have very little to no other options. They are charging those people an extra $3 a month, just because.
Wow.